Welcome back, folks. Thanks for sticking with us through the news and hockey tank NHL Nifty of the Week. I'm sure it wasn't too much of a burden on you guys. You guys are pretty warmed up to the old routine around here. So now for the fun part, me and Steve are going to get into our top 15 prospects for the upcoming 2022 NHL Entry Draft. So we're just going to go down 1 through 15 of where we think these prospects rank, just based on skill and just what scouts are saying, and give you guys a bit of heads up if you guys already didn't know. So before we jump into it, Steve, I'd like to go over a few notable prospects that were left off my list, but could have easily went somewhere in these 15. So first I'll start with Elias Salmon Nassen out of Sweden. Jeez, man,
Yeah,
some of these
defenseman.
names.
Salmonson, I think it is.
Yeah, I thought he was very good. Just didn't crack top 15 for me. I didn't see too much like offensive prowess out of him, so he was left off the list. Ty Nelson out of the OHL. He's been playing pretty good. He's just under point per game as a defenseman, so that's great. A big puck moving defenseman. Rutger McRoherty.
That's a sick name.
Yeah, it is a sick name. Out of the U.S. National Development Program. Alexander Perevalov out of Russia, I think. He's been lighting it up as of late. He's been climbing the board fairly steadily. Ryan Chesley, a defenseman from the U.S. National Development Program. A lot of people have him in their top 15. And Philip Misar, I think he might be Swiss or Austrian.
He is hold on. He's Slovakian.
He's Slovakian. Okay, yeah. Philip Misar didn't quite top my top 15, but so I'm sorry. I also want to give a big hockey tank shout out to a boy from Newfoundland that's now playing on the Green Bay Gamblers out of the U.S. National Development Program, or USHL actually. He's committed to Boston University next year, and that's Ryan Green from Paradise, Newfoundland. He's projected to go somewhere between the second and fourth round. He could fall or he could rise. Hopefully he rises, so we get yet another Newfoundlander drafted in the first round. But
that would be cool, man.
If he doesn't get his name spread around much, just where he fell out of the top 32 picks, I want it said here, Ryan Green from Paradise, Newfoundland, playing with the Green Bay Gamblers right now in the U.S. Hockey League. He's a beauty. I hope he goes at least 32nd.
That'd be sick. Hopefully, like Tampa picks him up and he wins the cup.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Bring it home before Dawson and Alex.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Steve,
or Clark Bishop.
Notes. Yeah, Clark Bishop still kicking around. Where's he to?
He's between Binghamton Senators and Ottawa Senators, I believe.
All right. Well, hopefully he wins the cup with Ottawa next year.
Yeah. No, not a fucking chance in hell.
All right, Steve, start us off. Who do you have at number 1?
I have the man, the myth, Shane Wright, the center for the Kingston Frontenacs of the OHL. And it's no surprise to anybody that he's going to be first on pretty much everybody's list. Give me 1 second. I got to fix up my document here. Okay. I wrote down a few things like his stats and whatnot. What team I think he might go to and has a reasonable chance to get him, and he'd benefit. The team would benefit from picking him up. And a few little quotes from different scouts over the world. A projection of where I think they're going to make it in the NHL. If they're low risk, medium risk, or high risk. Obviously, high risk can be a player who's, let's say, drafted third. He could be a high risk, but there could be a guy who's low risk second because he might not have that upside, but he's almost sure to make it and be a steadier NHL player. So I got a few things there that I want to go over. So first I had Shane Wright. A few quotes here. It says Shane Wright has a lethal shot, making him a constant shooting threat, especially on the power play. His puck touches are calculated and meaningful. He never tries to do too much, and he constantly moves the puck quickly to his teammates who are in a better position. If there's one thing about Shane, it would be his skating is a concern. It's not an elite level skater. So right away when I read these quotes from different scouts, I think of John Tavares or Patrice Bergeron, because he's been compared to Patrice Bergeron and John Tavares. through different scouts at different times because we always want to know who he's played. Like we always want to compare players, and that's just something a lot of people do for fun, I guess. But yeah, I definitely think of a player like John Tavares, where he was drafted number 1 too. It kind of he's got that lethal shot. Tavares has that too, and he's a constant threat on the power play. His puck touches are calculated and meaningful. He doesn't try to do too much. He's not like Bedard or Michkov of next year. He's pretty much plays the game the way the coach draws it up. He doesn't make fancy moves. He doesn't do anything too out of this world. He just does what he needs to do, and he's just a better player than a lot of people because he's so smart and so effective at what he does. And my projection for Shane Wright is that he's going to be a first-line center. I consider him a low-risk pick. I think he's been thought of highly for so long, and I think so many people, believe he has enough talent to be a consistent scorer in the NHL. And a team that I think would benefit from him and probably going to have a chance to get him is Arizona Coyotes. I think this is the year the Arizona Coyotes can snag up a talent like Shane Wright. And you're wearing the fucking jersey for it, man. You got it.
I got the Kachina on, yeah.
Exactly. Now let's hear about your first overall pick.
It's no surprise to anybody. I'm coming in hot with the same pick as you. Shane Wright, great two-way centerman. Not having the greatest season in the OHL like everyone expected, but that's seeing people have rough seasons in the OHL and they turn it on the next. It's not odd to see player.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Caliber.
I forgot to mention his stats, so you can do that. Sorry about that.
All right, yeah, I gotta carry this podcast shot.
Yeah, fuck sakes.
No, as you guys at home probably already know, Steven is gonna have a lot more on these prospects than I do. I just have a small little write up. He's got offensive talent, but the two-way game is definitely the strongest in this draft. He's not gonna have the elite skill that we've seen from other first-round picks like Matthews or, like you said, Bedard and Michkov next year. But his overall game is there already. He's ready to come into the league and probably be a successful third or fourth line center to start out.
Yeah.
He's got a hard, accurate shot that it easily fools a lot of goalies. He's very deceptive, and like you said, just he doesn't touch the puck and just throw it in the corner. He really has that high hockey IQ that you want to see from a first overall and hopefully a top line center. With all that said, he's got 11 goals this year, 30 points in 22 games played with the Kingston Frontenacs. So he's 8 points above point per game. Not bad at all, but not what we quite expect from Shane Wright after his big rookie season.
No, I was thinking more out of this world point totals, probably between 40 something points now, like double point per game close to. But, there's a lot of different factors that plays into that. So I wouldn't look too much into it because he's still a all-star talent.
Yeah, for sure. I think so too. And I think he will hang on to the first overall spot, even though there's some skilled centers, wingers, and defensemen coming in right behind him. Like I said, his all-around game is there right now. And I don't see a team risking losing that right now just to pick up a player who might throw in an extra 5 or 10 points a year,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
a
good pick.
On to number 2. Who did you have here?
On the number 2, I have the second most ready NHL player, I think, who's ready to jump in. I have Joakim Kemell. He's a winger. Plays with JYP in Liga. So far, he's played 21 games. He has 12 goals, 6 assists for 18 points. Playing with men, he's almost point per game in Liga. It's pretty impressive in a draft year to do that. A few quotes from scouts is he's an active stick forechecker as he looks to force quick decisions with the puck by extending his stick out. So he has a very active stick, likes to disrupt plays with it. And his shot is his calling card, and he finds the most success when shooting one-timers. So he's pretty good on the power play, and he likes to get shots off quickly, usually snapshots or slap shots. He does struggle with acceleration. It becomes evident when defending in the neutral zone. So not the best on the back check, and sometimes acceleration, like he doesn't get to top speed really quickly. So it's not the same sort of thing as Shane, where Shane Wright skating is more of his overall skating, but his it seems Kemo is slow to reach top speed, but he's going to work that out. That's something that's easily fixable. So yeah, I think he's ready for the NHL. I think if he does go second, like I predict, him and Shane will jump in right away. My projection is a top 6 winger. I think he's low risk. I think he's pretty much gonna make it, and I think he's gonna do well. A team that I think would benefit from drafting him, I chose and reasonable, going to be in a reasonable area to draft him is the Ottawa Senators. I think the Senators need players who can jump in right away. I think they've been waiting for so long, and I know the Senators want an all-star center, but at this pick, I think Kemo will benefit. I know they're moving Stutzel to center, and I know they have Pinto, and they got a couple guys in center. They have Josh Norris. So adding another winger, you always need wingers. Obviously, depth down the middle is amazing, but adding another skilled winger who can play with Kachuk and whatnot and benefit in the top 6 Batherson is a good idea, I think.
For sure. He reminds me a lot of Capo Caco in his draft year. Caco was putting up fairly decent numbers. I think Kemel actually has better numbers than Caco did in his draft year. And like you said, the acceleration was a big barrier for Caco to make an impact into the league. But for sure. Unfortunately, Steve, this is where we part ways. I did not have Kemel second overall. I instead had Matthew Savoie, a centerman out of the Winnipeg Ice in the WHL. Right now, leading the WHL in scoring, points scored anyway. I'm not sure about goals. So this dynamic center, he has great skating ability. He's known mostly for his playmaking, but can also put the puck in the net. There's concerns about his attitude, just because he threatened not to play in the WHL if they didn't give him exceptional status, is what I heard. But he decided to play after, which shows me some maturity. He's leading the league right now. His foot speed is amazing. He kind of reminds me of, I don't know, just by looking at him, just like Bedard skating, how Bedard is so like smooth and easily transitions from, backward skating to his pivot to his frontward skating and can almost be anywhere on the ice in a matter of seconds. Like I said, he's known for his playmaking, but he's also got a pretty lethal shot. Just an elite skill. Not to knock on Kemel, he's coming up very soon on my list, but players, especially the teams I see at the bottom of the league right now, everybody's looking for a center, and you just can't pass up these centers when they come in the draft. So right now, I'd say Savoie. Do you pronounce it Savoie or Savoie? I heard you're supposed to pronounce it Savoie because he was born in Alberta.
I've said Savoie, but I don't know.
Savoie is the French pronunciation of it. I've been pronouncing it Savoie, but I was kind of.
I don't know.
It probably doesn't matter there.
This is not a name I worry about pronouncing. I got a lot of worse ones yet.
Yeah, true. The ones coming up later are a bit worse. So, so yeah, like I said earlier, he leads the WHL. He's got 18 goals, 34 assists in 34 games, which is pretty amazing to me anyway. He does play on a stacked team, and I'll get to that point a bit later when I talk about another prospect on the list. But from what I see, Savoie seems to be driving the play, and I'm sure he could have been around these point totals with almost any league or any team in the WHL. Probably not this high, but probably around like 15 goals and 25, 30 assists.
Yeah, that's a good pick, man.
Thank you. On to your number 3.
Matthew Savoie.
Nice. We'll get right into it. Get Savoie out of the way.
Yeah. Good stuff. Center, Winnipeg Ice, like we said, 52 points, 34 games. Some quotes from scouts. Creative player that seeks the best possible way to create offense and get the puck in the back of the net. His ability to thread passes through multiple defenders is something that will carry him to NHL success. His shot is quick, and there's a bit of power behind it for someone who's not known as a shooter. So sometimes it can make him a dual threat on a power play. And he relies on quick bursts of speed and elite puck handling to get around defenders. And I don't have not every player I have what their knock is. I just got some quotes. Some quotes mention what they're having difficulties doing. For Chavois, I don't have anything there. I'm sure there's a few things that he doesn't succeed at, but he seems like a typical scorer. I don't know. I heard he's a bit of got a bit of a bite to him. He's a bit of a tough player. Like he's not big in size, but he's kind of a rat, like Marchand.
Perfect.
So I heard he's a bit like that, but I don't know too much. I project him as a first line forward with a medium/high risk. I couldn't decide. He's one of those players who's got a lot of skill, but they don't necessarily rely on their two-way game. And I feel like he's one of the players that if he's not in your top six, he's not going to succeed. Unlike some other players. So I got him in a medium to high risk. I couldn't decide. If I was to say right now, I would say probably he's a medium risk because he's so talented. But yeah, you want him in your top six. He's not a guy who's going to succeed on your third line playing 11 minutes, 12 minutes a night. So, and I think a team that would benefit from getting him and are in a reasonable spot to draft him would be the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would be a good 1-2 punch, Savoie and Suzuki.
I would be very surprised if Montreal came out of this draft without a top line centerman for the future. I would think it would be a huge mistake for them to draft anything but a center, to be honest.
Me as well. But I also, looking back on the 2018 draft, I believe, they drafted positionally and they never drafted the best player available. Their fucking first round draft pick is playing in Carolina, and Brady Tkachuk is captain of the fucking Senators right now. They should have drafted Brady Tkachuk. Everybody said it. All the analysts. They went and they picked fucking Kotkaniemi, who was ranked between 15th and whatnot in the draft because they wanted a good center because there weren't many centers available in that draft. Big mistake. You always take the best player. It doesn't matter what you need now. I believe in taking the best player available, and I think Savoie is the third best player right now in my eyes. That can change later on, but we'll see.
Yeah. And he very well could be the third rank, anywhere from third to fourth or fifth, depending on, team needs and whatever. But it seems like the teams at the bottom of the league right now, I mean, everybody's jumping for a center. So, minor, I guess, off a bit just because I was looking at that. But we still got around the same players because at number 3, I have Joachim Kamel. Like you said, a right winger from JYP from the Legal. This player, to quote Bob McKenzie, in every prospect he's talked about in the last 30 years, he is an elite goal-scoring winger in the Liga. He makes all the big plays, but isn't afraid to do the dirty work either. I've watched filmed on him making hip checks, making hits. I mean, this is a player who's not afraid to get in and get dirty. He's not just a scoring winger. He's also a bit of a power forward too. So it seems like he knows how to get into the position to score, if that's just opening his hips for a one-timer or skating into the areas where he knows goals come from, the home plate in front of the net. This player gets to those areas and gets there well. Like you said already, he's almost point per game. He's got 12 goals and 6 assists in 18 games.
He's got more bite than a Kako did.
He's got more bite. That for sure. Yeah, Kako. I'll talk about that element in a later prospect too, where like Kako didn't always, play like a 6'4" player. He played smaller, where Kamel plays bigger than what he is. There's questions about his 2-foot game. He's sometimes lazy on the back check. Not lazy, but dragging his feet. Just can't always figure it out positionally where he needs to get to. But he's got all the time in the world to learn that. And that might be fixed too once he hits North American ice.
That's true.
It's big European ice. It's a lot of position to work out for a young kid. So when he comes over, he could easily
I think he's got a better chance than Kako. I think he's a better player than he was actually.
I thought Kako was the best player in his draft. I might have taken him first overall. I think Kako was rushed a bit.
I think New York has stunted his growth a nice bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Kamel playing the AHL, even if it's half a season or a full season, just develop on North American ice and not be pushed into those situations.
The AHL doesn't hurt anybody. If he can get in the top 6, if he can play second or first line in the AHL, I mean, that's a good idea.
No, I don't care if you're first overall on my team. If I was a GM, I'd also always put you through a development process. I get you to learn the organization from the bottom up, and I think that makes the best prospects.
That's what ruins a lot of high picks, man. They just get pushed into it. You're a high pick. You got to succeed. Go.
Especially Europeans who's always been put on bigger ice, and now they're forced into a tighter, faster
Different game. Yeah.
I mean, Kako's foot speed was probably
It's
fine
tough.
from wide open spaces, and Kemel's is fine from the wide open European ice.
Yep.
But it's a lot different in North America, and with all the fans too, it's a lot of pressure for a young kid.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, so
That's a good pick, man.
yeah, thank you. We just switched our 2 and 3. Let's see if we can keep this going. Who do you have at 4?
I have a player I'm going to mention in a sec. I got to get the bottle cap from my cat before she chokes on it. Give me 1 second. We don't need to put stop. Just give me a second.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hope you kept everybody entertained.
I just sat here and they were looking at my pretty face. Did your cat have at least a winner in its paws?
No, she took a sorry try again, and I was afraid she was going to choke on it. So it was bothering me for the last couple of minutes there. So
I could kind of hear like shagging with it in the background, but
yeah, she's a bit of a shit sometimes, but she's cute, so
that's fair. It makes up for it. She'll be up on the table now to get another one.
No, man, I got him guarded now. I got him locked down. So she comes here, she's going to get a left hook.
Sounds good. All right, let's see if you're good at ranking prospects as you are fighting cats off. Who's that?
We'll see. I got probably the second best two-way forward in the draft. Hard to say. Logan Cooley, center from United States Development or whatever the fuck that team's called.
Yeah, the United States National Development Program.
Yes. He has 21 points or 31 points in 21 games, 14 goals, 17 assists. Some quotes on him would be he's an extremely talented two-way forward. And where he may lack in size, he certainly makes up for and playing an extremely mature game. So he plays a really mature game. His two-way game is exceptional. He helps defenders. He comes back deep in his own end, help make sure the puck's retrieved, make sure it gets transitioned up the ice. And then he's also involved in the forechecking. And arguably a better trait than his two-way game would be his skating. He's a really exceptional skater. He's probably one of the top skaters in the draft. And, that helps. That goes with his two-way game, get up the ice quick, get down. And he draws penalties, draws a lot of penalties. That's what scouts are saying. And, that's a trait that NHL coaches are going to love. It's a tight game. You go out there and you find a way to, maneuver and get a stick caught in your stomach and, somebody hooks you, you fall down. Tripping penalty. He seems to be able to do that. And I've seen NHL players do that before. A good example is a guy like Zach Hyman, man. I remember when he played on the Leafs. I found he was such good at protecting the puck where he'd draw a lot of penalties. And, there's certain players who got a knack for drawing penalties. I think it's actual skill, if I'm going to be honest with you. Some players got it, some players don't. And he seems to be good at that. I project him to be a top 6 center with extremely low risk. I think he's probably going to be second line center when it's all said and done, but maybe he transitions to a first line center on a bad team. I think a team that benefit from having him and will be in a reasonable spot to pick him would be the Buffalo Sabres. They've drafted a lot of defensemen of late. So I think a center who could benefit that team would be Logan Cooley, maybe Cousins and Cooley. You get the double C's jumping off the boards. So I think that'd be good because Buffalo needs a really responsible center, and he's a great skater, and they got a lot of good pieces there. I think we shit on Buffalo a lot because they deserve to be shitted on. But
Buffalo just can't figure it out with their centermen.
No, I think
Jack Eichel and Middlestat so far. So I guess
I think Cooley's a good pick, man. I think Cooley's a good pick. So that's my number 4. How about yourself?
I went a different direction. I said the only other position right now more highly sought after than a top line forward is a top line right-handed defenseman. That's why I went with Simon Nemec or Nemec. For my money, he's the best defenseman in this draft, period. Oh, sorry, we should probably go over where he's from, eh? So he's a defenseman out of HK Nitra in the Slovakian league. So, yeah, the best defenseman in this draft for me anyway. He's got a great shot from the point and a terrific skater. He's so good at going up the ice on rushes, but also getting back too. He's very smart with the puck. He's a very smart defender, and he doesn't make too many plays for a young skater playing against men. There's room for growth, both physically and mentally. Sometimes it seems like he's rushed with the puck, and he doesn't realize either how good he is or how much space he can occupy at a time. So there's a bit of work to be done on that. But all the same, he's got a lot of time to work out that. There's a couple knocks on this player just because the Slovakian league isn't the best. But as a 17, 18-year-old playing against men, I mean, if you're playing that level of hockey, you're doing something right. So I wouldn't give in to that too much. I still think he's the best defenseman in this draft and is definitely going to be a top pairing defenseman someday in the NHL if he keeps up this trajectory he's on. At the moment, he's got 0 goals and 14 assists in 24 games played in the Slovakian league, which isn't bad. A lot of his highlights are shots from the points that are either getting blocked or not getting through. So I guess there might be some problem with him from his seeing eyes from the blue line. But his shot is still very powerful and very accurate. The 14 assists just attest to how good he is, just either breaking out, getting secondary assists, or on the power play, getting primary assists.
Yeah, that's a good pick, man.
I
like that.
Who do you have at 4? All right, you're on now.
At 5.
You're at 5 now. 5, sorry.
Sir. At 5, I have my first defenseman, but it's a different defenseman than you. I have David Yurisek.
Nice.
I think him and Nemec are pretty much cut from the same cloth. They're pretty well.
They play the same. They play
2 European defensemen. They play a similar game. Pretty much pick and choose. They're both, you got some guys saying Nemec's better, some saying Yurisek's better. We'll see when it's all said and done. I think probably Nemec or Nimitz, I don't know how you say it, is probably better offensively. But I think Yurisek is a little bit better at boxing out forwards and playing a more rounded game. But we'll see. Time will tell. He has 11 points, 29 games played. Some quotes on him are he has excellent timing and ability to cradle the puck and uses elusive stick handling ability to maintain possession of the puck for his team to keep the offensive momentum alive. Very good job at boxing out forwards in front of the net, shift in and shift out. He's reliable. He doesn't miss a shift. He defends well and likes to get in front of some shots. He does an excellent job of completing lengthier passes to generate momentum, and he's good at transitioning the puck up the ice very quickly. I project him to be a top 4 defenseman. I think it's low risk. I think he's pretty well going to be a good defenseman. And a team that I think will have a reasonable chance of getting him and is going to be in that area, I think the Seattle Kraken get a guy like Yurisek. And then their prospect pool will be Beniers and Yurisek. I think that'd be a good start to the franchise. And, just a solid defenseman, plays both ends of the ice. Probably a little bit better defensively than Nemec, but doesn't have as much offensive abilities. But it's so close. They play such the same
game.
They
do. Their skating is very smooth, and their games almost mirror each other. The fact that, Nemec might have the better offensive, it might just seem like that because I'm pretty sure the Czech league is a little bit better skill-wise than the Slovakian. So, what's the difference between 5 points, right?
Yeah, you're right. So we'll see. I think they're pretty much, like you said, mirror image of each other in a way. So that's my pick at number 5. How about yourself?
So at number 5, this is where I choose Logan Cooley personally, a center out of the U.S. National Development Program, now playing in the USHL. Logan Cooley's a great skating forward who can play any position or role you give him. You say get out there and play wing for a shift, he'll get out there and be the best winger on the ice. You get out there and say Send him in, and he'll probably win at least 500% of the faceoffs. Or 50% of the faceoffs. My bad. He's highly skilled and can make an impact on the scoreboard. He's not that physical of a player. I didn't find anyway when I watched him. He's a bit smaller. He doesn't play as small as he is. I'll give him that. He plays a bit bigger of a game. But he will need to put on some muscle before he can get to the higher leagues like the AHL, the NHL. He's got a very accurate shot from what I've seen. The only knock on him, and this is where I found it interesting that you and the scouts both pointed out his two-way game, is there was a knock on him that he is a bit flashy. He doesn't always make the smartest pass or shot. If he can try to get a dangle in, or I guess I shouldn't say that, but I found that he was overdoing it at some times where a more simple play could have been made, either pass back to the point or otherwise. This flashy style, it worked for Jack Hughes at the USNDP, and it works for him right now, but it might not translate to the NHL. But even with that said, that's just my take on it too. I haven't seen very many scouts say that. Like you said, most have been just praising his skating because he is probably the best skater in this draft. But yeah, so in the U.S. National Development Program, playing, I guess it would have been the under 20 just teams, he had 14 goals, 19 assists in 23 games, and now in the USHL, he's got 4 goals, 4 assists in 9 games. So pretty good stats for a young kid.
Yeah, he's a good player, man. Whoever gets him, be lucky. Hopefully the Leafs draft him.
Yeah, the Leafs better start losing games.
Yeah, I know. They're too good, man. They're just too good.
You can't have your cup and eat it too, buddy. I'll tell you that.
No, I know. It's a good pick, man. I like it. I figured he was a top 5 pick regardless.
Yeah, he can't drop out of my top 5.
Yeah, especially where he can play the wing and center too. So.
Yeah, exactly. I found that a great asset.
Yep.
All right, nice. On number 6.
Number 6 for me is Simon Nemec.
Nice.
So I feel like we've covered the exact same players so far.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's got 14 points, 24 games. When you watch him, you notice how dominant he is on the defensive blue line. He's good at keeping the puck in. So he's good in a tight situation, can walk across the blue line and, flick it in, keep it in, make sure they don't have to regroup, come out. He's got good gap control in the corners and medium danger situations. He ends up winning puck battles more than he does losing them. And he has a good straight line speed and an excellent stride. So he's a good skater and he's good on the offensive blue line. So he's probably going to end up being a power play defenseman in the NHL at some point. Other than that, he resembles Yurisek a lot too. I think they're not just one style. Like, they're not just offensive, they're not just defensive. They're kind of two-way game. These are two-way defensemen.
For sure.
Yeah, these are two-way defensemen. I have him project him as top 4 D-man, low risk. I think he's pretty much going to do well at making top 4 in the league. And I think a team who has a reasonable chance of getting him and would be happy to draft him would be the New York Islanders.
Yeah, for sure. New York Islanders could use another defensive prospect. They haven't drafted one since Dobson, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, not in the top 2 rounds anyway.
Yeah, this would be good, man. This would look good. I find they're starting to draft a little bit more European players last couple of years too. So we'll see if it works out. Yeah, that's my pick. What about yours at 6?
Good stuff. Well, we just switched spots for our defenseman because I have David Yurisek going at number 6 on my list. So he plays out of HC Plzeň out of the Czech league. So a great first pass out of his own zone was immediately what I mentioned or noticed. He's great at, I don't know, even if he doesn't always see a pass immediately when he's behind the boards or on the hash marks, he'll skate with it, and he's a very powerful skater to get it out of the zone. He's physically able to defend men right now, which is a great look. He can translate that immediately over to North American ice and play against almost anyone in the world. He's got a great shot from the point. This is the biggest thing I noticed. His shot from the point is unreal, either slap shot or a snapshot. It always makes it to the net, I find, are close. And that's going to translate amazingly on smaller North American ice, because instead of shooting from, 60 feet out, he's going to be shooting from 50 feet out. So, I mean, this is a great quarterback for your future power play. I would say he's more offensive than Nemec or Nemec. But I think Nimitz just has the defensive game covered a lot more right now. He's a very smooth skater, like we were saying, and very smart when he has possession of the puck. He's not as, I guess, not offensively producing. Like, he doesn't score a lot of points, but the points that he gets are, I don't know, usually from the point or on the power play or in some game situation. Oh, obviously. Yeah, but he's got all the potential in the world for me as a defenseman. Just drafted it, or just slipped a bit low, just because I don't think his defensive game is as high as Nemec's right now and is as ready to come into the NHL. But definitely a good defenseman for any team to be looking at.
Yeah, that's spot on, man. I feel the same way about him.
Groovy.
Yeah.
Who'd you have at number 7? Let's see if we can get the same player going again.
We might. I got Connor Geeky.
Okay.
No.
You'll have to find out, man. Tell me about Connor Geeky.
Center, Winnipeg Ice in WHL. 38. As when I did my stats out, he had 38 points in 34 games.
Mm-hmm.
And some quotes on him would be: he's one of the smartest players on the ice at any time, and can find open teammates before defensemen have a chance to notice that they've missed an assignment. A concern would be his skating, and that may impact his ability to produce in the NHL, because it's pretty much average in the WHL. And he can do things with the puck. He's smooth that most people his size can, because he's a large frame. I think he's around 6'4".
Yeah, 6'4", 193. Great hands too.
Yeah, he's got good hands. So skating is a thing, and I know it could probably be fixed. I find bigger centermen don't often transition very well. Like, how many big centermen make it? They do, but
I mean, Barkov.
I know, man. It's just, I don't know. I think he's going to be a top 6 center. I think you're looking at more of a second line center.
I think so too with this pick.
And because of his skating and his size, I think sometimes that can be a risk. And I don't know. He just gives me those Freddie Gauthier vibes. Toronto, he's first round back. No, that's such a bad comparison. Forget I said that. I don't know.
Connor Brown now in St. Louis. He was around the same build, and he just couldn't translate his game. Or
Logan
couldn't find it in Ottawa. Logan Brown, Jesus, not Logan Brown. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I just get those kind of vibes from him, right? The first round pick, but I got him as medium risk because I think he can go either way. And I think the Blue Jackets would be a good team to pick him up. I think the Blue Jackets wouldn't hurt for them to get more depth. They picked up 2 forwards last year in Sillinger and Johnson. Why not grab another in Geeky, and then you're starting to have a really good forward core for the future.
Yeah, the only thing is that's 3 centers. You're gonna have the same problem that LA has, and I mean, it's not a bad problem. I'd rather have too many centers than too less.
I can see Kent Johnson playing the wing though. He's more of a winger style player too.
That's true.
He played the wing at World Juniors, so
yeah. And I mean, if you can teach Connor Geeky how to master faceoffs, I mean, no one's over muscling this kid. This kid's huge.
You could have him on a line with Johnson.
Yeah.
So, Johnson could be flashy on the wing, and he can get in front of the net. So I think that'd be a good pick for Columbus, personally.
Very true.
Yeah, you have it 7.
Unfortunately, I didn't have Connor Geeky. I couldn't put him up this high. The player I chose instead is Yuri Slavkovsky, left wing out of TPS Liga. I believe plays. Nope, never mind.
And sorry. Yep. The reason I put him this high is because he's a center, and centers are often overvalued in drafts. So
yeah, they are.
I want to put that out there.
Especially big centermen.
That's what I'm saying. They're often overvalued for more than what they are. So I just wanted to let that out there.
And it's kind of weird that you picked that out, that not all big centermen that go high in drafts always pan out,
No, it's true. It seems it's a trend.
Yeah. At number 7 for me is Yuri Slavkovsky, a left wing at a TPS, playing in the Liga. This is a big, powerful left winger. Just an average skater, but knows how to score. He's kind of like a Capo Caco. I mean, Caco's not the fastest skater, but he just drives to the net, and he's powerful, and he's like a moose. You can't move him, and just a great scorer right now. One of the best shooters in this draft. I mean, he's got a huge booming slap shot. He can score from almost anywhere in the offensive zone with that shot. It almost always makes it to the net if it's not blocked. There's some concerns about his defensive game, but I mean, he's got a lot of potential to work with, and it's a lot of raw talent right now. Whatever team ends up getting him is definitely going to have to clean up the edges and work on his skating with him. But for what you're getting in a 6'4" left winger, I mean, this is almost a can't miss pick for me. Even if he doesn't translate his game to, I don't know, the first line, there's still a lot of value for him on the power play, working as a half wall player, or stick him in front of the net to clean up rebounds. There's a lot I like in this player. That's why I have him at number 7. He did very well in the under 20 leagues right now in the Liga. He's got 1 goal and 3 assists in 20 games playing against men, which I think is average for Finnish players. Capo Caco, I think, had better stats than this. I think Capo might have had 10 or 12 points in his draft year. So Yuri is just a bit below that average right now, I think, if you double his points. So yeah, I think this is a great player, and any team will be lucky to get him as a left winger.
Yeah, that's a good pick, man. I like him. He's on my list too later.
Wicked. Who'd you have at number 8?
Number 8, I had a winger from Metalurg Magnitogorsk, the KHL, Danae Yerov.
Nice, yeah.
I got his KHL stats. They're not just 21 games played, 0 points.
Yeah, no, I was looking at those too, and I've heard a couple of reasons why. A lot of it is believed to be ice time concerns. His coach doesn't really play him where he's 17 years old, and I looked at his team and why he wasn't getting ice time, and there is a nice few good players on that team. What's that player drafted by Vancouver? Goldobin?
Nikolai
Goldobin, yeah, he leads that team in points. I think he's got like 48 points, man. He's a beauty. Or 38 or something.
That I think the Calgary, he used to be coaching Calgary. He's a coach of that team now. What's his name? Fuck.
It's not Buddy that called
No, it's the other guy before him. The guy who had a panic attack and threw a stick in stands.
Oh man, I'm not sure.
Is it Hartley or something?
I don't know, man. That's a long way back.
Yeah, it is.
That's probably like 10 odd years ago.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't have his minor stats, KHL version of the minors. I only get his KHL stats, but I knew it's ice time issues, obviously, rather than anything else. Some quotes on him is he'll look to skate up the slot and look to create openings for passing opportunities. A knock on him is his power behind his shot and how he often hesitates and doesn't transfer his weight correctly. And on the forecheck, he's physical, uses active stick. He's very good at keeping up with opponents. He's got good speed, and he likes to use his upper body strength to lift sticks and turn over pucks. And he's more of a good two-way forward. Like, he finds a way. Like, he's always when he's on the ice, he finds a way to generate, whether he's on the half wall or he's up, or he's down low in front of the net. He just kind of sneaks around the ice and finds open lanes. That's how he gets a lot of his points. And I project him as a top 6 winger, but I think he's high risk. I think a player that doesn't have his skill set's pretty much average, but he does it better than everybody else. He doesn't have an amazing shot.
Average.
He doesn't have an amazing but he doesn't have an amazing shot. He's not amazing physically. I feel like if he doesn't make a top 6, he'll just fade out.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a great amazing two-way game, doesn't have an amazing shot. He's not amazing defensively. He's just average, but he's above that average.
So above average.
Yeah, but if it doesn't transition, I consider it high risk.
Yeah.
I think a team that benefit from picking him in a reasonable spot. And I feel like I don't know, man, because Philadelphia just always picks wingers or something. So I just picked Philadelphia because I was like Yerov, and I looked at a Philadelphia jersey. It's like I can see Yerov on a Philadelphia jersey. It seems like a player Philadelphia would pick.
That might seem silly, but that actually makes a lot of sense because Philly does have a lot of other wingers they can lean on. So picking a high risk one that might also be a high reward isn't even a bad place to be. Or
Because they need
draft
something in
strategy.
Philly, man. Philly's been a bag of shit last couple of years, but
Yeah, usually they go back and forth. They're a good team, bad team, good team, bad team.
now,
But
now they're just a
they
bad
they
team.
surprised everyone. They went bad team, bad team. They threw us all for a loop, man.
Yeah,
Nobody could have
exactly.
expected that.
So that's number 8 for me. I think he's a good player, but I think there's a bit of a risk because if he doesn't transition well, he doesn't have anything that makes him stand out.
Yeah, Jesus, good stuff. Yeah, he's later on my list.
Yeah,
Coming in
who's
at
your 8?
number 8 out of the Winnipeg Ice of the WHL center is Morgan Geekie. So if you want to talk about centermen that are
Morgan
might be
Geekie?
overhyped,
He's already drafted.
Jesus, Connor Geekie, my bad. I spoke the wrong last name there. This is a huge centerman with okay skating ability. I find he's most effective for getting the puck out of his own zone. It might just be the league he's playing in where everybody's like 5'8", 5'9", and can't really stop him. But coming out of his own zone, he can't be stopped. He's an absolute truck. There's a lot of skill here. Like we said, he's got great hands and great ability just to find his teammates and stuff like that. But some scouts are concerned that he doesn't drive the offense enough and that his stats are inflated by the rest of his overpowered Winnipeg team. He's got a lot of talent with zone entries and breakouts, like I mentioned, like coming into the zone. He can almost take the puck from behind his net and go and at least make a good zone entry every single time. And that might reflect the league he's playing in, but if he can translate that to the NHL, I know Barkov is reasonably good at this too, breaking out and breaking in to the offensive zone. That'll pay off dividends for whatever team gets him. He's got 11 goals with 28 assists or 27 assists in 34 WHL games, which might reflect his great teammates, but he doesn't even play on the same line as Chavois. He plays on the second line, I believe, and but he does get time on the power play, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got on Geeky. Just a big
centerman.
center,
Yeah.
just a big, powerful centerman. Like you said, his skating isn't great, but it's powerful skating. It's not quick, but when he gets going, he's a train, and he can't be stopped right now in the WHL, either breaking out of his zone or into the offensive zone.
For me, I'd be concerned to pick him, even though I have him high on my draft. This is a lot to do with that's not where I would pick players. It's where I think they would go and what teams would benefit from picking them and where they could be.
Well, I mean, every team in the league can benefit from having a 6'4", 200-pound center on the team. No team is going to turn that away.
Yeah.
It's just if you're picking in the top 10, you're kind of looking for that next offensive player that can be a game changer. And from what scouts say, it doesn't seem like he is a game changer for sure. Like our top 5 picks, maybe, or my top 5 picks. So that's why I got him at 8, just because he's going to make the NHL and make an impact just because of his size and the space he can take.
We hope so. Anyways, I think his numbers reflect his team more than himself.
And that's what a lot of people were saying. Another thing about Geeky is even though he's 6'4", he doesn't play like he's 6'4". He's almost like a pit bull that thinks it's a Chihuahua kind of thing. Like he has a really hard time being physical and making a physical presence in the game, which he should be able to do just by playing, tough hockey. But he kind of shies away from that grit sometimes, and a lot of people are kind of down on that too. They'd like to see more from him.
Yeah, you know who this kind of reminds me of too? This could remind you of a similar play to Rasmussen on Detroit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
big center picked high.
Yeah.
If they can get in front of the net on the power play, if they can make the league, even if it's a third line center, you got a big player who goes out there every shift and competes. That's valuable.
Yeah.
Rather than a small player in the bottom six. So that's why I think oversized, like not oversized, like tall, big centermen get picked rather than the guy who's 5'11".
Yeah.
I think it has to do a lot with that, but we'll see how he pans out. I think he's medium risk to me.
Still a great scorer. I mean, what's 48 points? Or is that 48? 38 points in 34 games. So you can't knock it a point per game. It doesn't matter if you're on fucking Winnipeg Ice or fucking Buffalo Sabres. You know, if you're point per game, you're doing at least you know the people, you know who to play with and how to play with them. So
yeah.
Yep. Who did you have at number 9?
I'm gonna try and say his name, man. It's Raj. I've been calling him.
I called him Yuri.
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 Okay, that sounds better. Yuri Slavkovsky,
Nice.
left winger. JYP Liga, 4 points, 20 games. He has a big frame, plays a power driven game, but he has pretty good speed, skill, and you know he can produce at a high level. He's shown it before. This year he struggled a bit, but you know he's playing with men, and that's obviously a different game. He's rangy. He's got a lot of range. Can reach a stick out, grab loose pucks, and you know he's surprisingly dangerous on the rush because he can be pretty deceptive. And he's physically mature. He weighs 225 pounds. That's what I've seen. I don't know if that's
6'4". I don't think he might not be that big. That's a big boy. But
I got to look it up now. I got to confirm this because that seems
he's definitely 6'4", and I would say he's 215 or 210.
I'm gonna look quickly because I don't want to sound like a dumbass. But if that's true, man, like let's see here, 225 pounds.
Holy God!
So this dude's actually like built. So I mean, he's probably a player that could jump into an NHL role quicker just because of the size.
Yeah, he's not going to be getting bullied for sure.
Yeah. So and he's a winger too, so he doesn't have the same responsibilities as a center. So
no, he doesn't have to quite play that two-way game. He can kind of rely on his offensive skills.
Yeah, so I'd rather pick a big winger than a big centerman. I
think I would too. Yeah,
I like it, you know, because your centerman can be a bit smaller because they get to drive the middle of the ice and go back deeper in the zone. Your winger just kind of plays its role and makes sure it's available for a pass, right? So
if I had a huge winger like Slavkovsky, I'd want a small center. But if I had a big center like Connor Geeky, I'd want a small winger, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And you know, a big winger like that who plays a really good game, you know, is Rantanen. He's a big player too. So if you can get a winger like that in a draft in a top 10 pick, that's not a bad player to have in your top 6. I project him to be a top 6 winger, and I think he's medium risk. And I don't know. I just medium risk because I feel like back in the day it was you're picking big players, but now I feel like you're picking a lot of average size players. I find that the speed, and I find it's hard sometimes for bigger players to transition to the game because it's changing, it's evolving, and it's a faster game. But I think he'll have no trouble. I just wrote down medium risk because I wanted to be a dick.
I mean, we haven't threw shade at anybody in this episode yet, so except for Buffalo Sabres fans, but they deserve it.
I think New Jersey Devils would benefit from picking him. They got a lot of wingers. I don't know. I just feel like if he played on a line with a Hughes, a big winger, I think it'd be a good idea 4 or 5 years if he makes it down the road. I didn't see any defensemen available here. I'm sure New Jersey'd like to grab a defenseman, but I thought he'd be good for New Jersey.
Yeah, cool. I could more see him playing on a line with Hischier because Slavkovsky, I don't think understands the importance of the defensive game right now. I think he's just gung ho. Let's fucking rip some one-timers at the net and stuff like that. And I think Hischier could really help him mature into an NHL role.
Yeah, that's a good.
But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong playing with either of those centers, though. in New Jersey. They got a good 1-2 punch for a long time.
Exactly. Who's number 9 for you?
Fuck, man. I was hoping you would have to say this name before me, but here it is, man. It's Ivan Miro Nichenko. Um, yeah, it's Ivan Miro Shnichenko. Yeah. He's a left winger out of Omsky in the MHL and VHL right now. Hasn't quite gotten to the KHL as of yet. But he's a highly skilled offensive player. He was elite, and for a long time, a lot of people were saying that he should go either 2, 3, or 4 in that area. But he has slipped a bit. He's, for my money, the best scorer in this draft. He's just got a lot of raw talent. And if we were basing it off talent alone, he'd probably be either 2 or 3 for me. But it's the all-around game that suffers right now. He drags his feet on the back check. And he's got a bit of attitude problems from what I've heard from scouts. He doesn't want to play defense because he doesn't think he has to, kind of stuff. And I mean, there's been a lot of players in the past that have matured out of this, and hopefully he's another one. But yeah, right now just laziness and attitude has me dropped him down to number 9. But he's got a lot of talent. So in the VHL, he's played 27 games. That's the second Russia league. The VHL, under that is the MHL, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And so in that league in 27 games, he's got 5 goals and 6 assists, which isn't bad. If he was, I don't know. In my opinion, this is what he should be doing in the KHL, how fucking good he is, but he can't get it together, unfortunately. So in the second league, he's got 11 points in 27 games. I still think he might go in the top 10. I mean, he is very high risk right now. Just, nobody wants a player that thinks they're too good to play defense. I mean, if you say that in the draft interview, you're almost surely going to get passed over. So
me playing no defense.
Yeah, so if you say it exactly like that, they're just going to say, okay, here's a glass of vodka. I'll see you on the plane. Get your cigarettes. Throw back to last week's year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this guy can be a great goal scorer in the NHL. He's just got to work hard for it. Get back to what he knows. I mean, in seasons previous, he's been lights out anywhere he's played. So I just want to see him get back to that. So that's my number 9.
Right, man. That's a good pick.
Yep. To round out the top 10, who do you got here?
Ivan Miroshnichenko.
Nice. Okay, back to back. Let's hear what you got on
him. He's proven that he can compete great passes in tight lanes. He can often see what other players cannot in the offensive zone. His wrist shot can be lethal. He often shoots high, doesn't low shooter. He seems to be aiming blocker side a lot of the time. They say sometimes the teams get a book on him, but he's starting to change up his game a bit and shoot for different areas of the net. He's pretty good in the offensive zone and the neutral zone. He lacks defensively, like you said, and oftentimes he can turn over the puck in the neutral zone because he's too hesitant. He doesn't make the right decision. But it seems like he plays a different game when he's in the offensive zone. He's a lot more aggressive. Feels like he can score. So I got a few things like that. He's not great at outmaneuvering attackers in the offensive zone. That's one of the knocks on him in the offensive zone. He holds onto the puck a bit longer than he should, but he has a lot of skill, and he's proven it. So that's why he's in a lot of top 10s. Just a lot of skill and the ability to put the puck in the net. It's just sometimes he overdoes it, or sometimes he doesn't back check enough. So there's a few issues there. I project him to be, if it works out, he's a top 6 winger, but I think it's high risk. And a team that I think would be in a spot to draft him and probably would like to draft him would be the Dallas Stars. I feel like Miroshnichenko could be in a Dallas jersey, just like they drafted Valery Nichushkin.
Yeah.
So it doesn't turn out the same way.
I mean, Nichushkin has, where's the team now? Colorado. He's got a good spot. He's got a good thing going.
Yeah. He never for Dallas though.
No.
That's
hopefully Miroshnichenko can kind of get it together and make the NHL. Because I'd love to see that name on the back of a jersey.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
I would want to be the guy who got to put that
Oh
on the
my
back
God!
of the jersey.
Imagine how sore your hands be after stitching that on them letters, man. Imagine how easy that would be to fucking misspell as a equipment manager or something. That'd be
Insane.
brutal. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll go with my 10 now. It's good, Steve. I think we're a good match for scouting because we had the same 10 players.
I can't wait to see the end of the year draft. First full.
I know, me neither.
We're gonna project the full first round at the end of the year, and we're gonna see how close we can get.
I can't wait. Yeah, me and Steve's been doing that for. We did it last year. I can't remember if we did it the year before, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, my number 10 is Danae Yerov. He's a great skating forward with a ton of offensive ability. He has been point per game. You said you didn't have his junior stats. I'm coming in clutch. I'm telling you what he did. Everywhere he's been in the past, every team he's been on, he has been more than at least point per game. He was double point per game in the MHL this season and gets called up to the KHL. I think in 6 games he had 12 points. I can't remember quite where the points were. I think he had
in the VHL. You mean?
No, I think he went right from I think it was the MHL. That's what I have wrote down anyway.
Oh, the MHL to the VHL?
No, fucking MHL to the KHL.
Oh, I said he had 0 points this year when I looked it up. I thought.
Oh, he did in the KHL. I'm talking about the MHL.
Fuck, man, my brain.
All right, continue. I'll go ahead and say it again. So he's been point per game everywhere he's been in the past, and this season before he was in the KHL, he was double point per game with the MHL. I think in 6 games he had 4 goals and 8 assists or some combination. And he was called, and then he gets called up to the KHL, and has gone pointless, like we've said. Scouts say it's a lack of ice time. I haven't been lucky enough to watch too much of this player. I haven't been able to find very much tape on him. But he pretty much got buried as a 17-year-old just because there was more skilled players on that team. And I mean, I can't see why you do this to a player. I suppose if he's so good, you want him to play with you just in case you need him. But to give him a chance in the VHL at least, or keep him in the MHL just to explode. I mean, it's so sad looking at this now. He's got 0 goals, 0 assists, 21 KHL games.
Yeah, it definitely makes him feel bad too. So
it does, and that's the reason
better
I
off in
dropped
the
him.
minors.
Like you said, he's got all the skill in the world, and if he can translate the North American ice, he'll be a star for sure. He's been double point per game, like I've said, anywhere else. It's a sin to see that he's pointless in the KHL in 21 games because that's such a hard stat, and that's why I've got him dropped down to 10. I didn't want to have this guy outside of my top 10. But
me either. I had him 8, man, because I knew how good of a forward he actually is.
Yeah, I couldn't drop him outside of the top 10 just because he is such a good forward, but I can't bring him in any lower or any higher, I guess, than 10 because he's got 0 points in 21 games.
Yeah.
I think I heard somewhere that he's only been getting like 3 or 4 minutes a game, which is hard to produce when you're sitting pretty cold on the bench, right? You're only getting
tough, man.
You're only getting 2 minutes a period, or less than that. You're only getting like a minute a period, right? It's tough. So
yeah,
shouldn't blame him. I'd love to see more of him on maybe a team that gives him more reps. Because this is just pathetic, man. He's too good to be playing like 4 minutes a night, and he should be playing a lot more.
It's not fair. No.
Not at all, man.
It's a good pick, man.
Thank you. I like it. Outside of the top 10 now. Who do you got at 11?
11, I have Philip Nazar, one of your honorable mentions.
Yeah, I kept him off my list. I'm intrigued to see why you had him up so high.
He can play the wing. He can play the center a bit. He's preferably a winger. He plays.
Where did you say he was from? Oh, sorry, you were just about to say that.
He plays in HK Poprad of Slovakia. He's in the Slovakian league. He's played 20 games, has 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. Messer is a dynamic forward in transition who constantly produces scoring chances when he's on the ice. He's the type of player who makes you perk up when the puck is on his stick. He's more of a passer than a shooter, though his shot is extremely versatile and he can get it off in a lot of tight areas. He seems like the player who he's like a how am I trying to describe it? Like a Mitch Marner style, not the same impact, not the same elite level, but he's like a passer at nature, but he can also shoot the puck in tight areas. And he's a star. Like he plays like a star, but he doesn't play like a bottom six forward. So he can be high risk. I got him wrote down as a high risk. He could be a star if he works out. And he's got 9 points in 20 games. He's young. Last year he played Slovakia professional league. He actually had better point totals than this year. He's kind of dropped off a little bit.
We've seen that from a lot of prospects today.
Yeah, it's that's what the trend is going. Like having a good 2 years out from your draft. Or a year out from your draft, you're having a good year, and then your draft year, you're kind of shit in bed.
Get yourself in the talks and then just play mediocre.
Yeah, so I project him as being a top six forward. I think he's got a lot of skill, and he sounds exactly the type of person I think the San Jose Sharks should bet on.
Yeah,
I think they should bet on a guy who can play the wing or maybe center.
They definitely
very skilled.
Need a center for sure.
They need a skilled player.
Yeah.
I think a young skilled forward would help him a lot. So I think San Jose could benefit from him. That's 11 for me, man. How about yourself?
Nice. So at 11, I couldn't drop this guy any further. Couldn't have him in the top 10 because he's had a rough year. But Brad Lambert, I watched this guy at the World Juniors. Absolutely loved him. I think he had something like 5 points in 2 or 3 games, which is pretty outstanding. I wish he could have went on to play the rest of that tournament because I was having fun watching him. He was the youngest player ever, I'm pretty sure, to play in the Liga last year at 16 years old, where he had a great season. I think he was somewhere, I can't really remember now, somewhere around 30 points in close to 50 games, which is outstanding. He's a good skating forward. That's a threat as a shooter or a passer. He's got obvious hockey IQ. In that regard, he has some defensive shortcomings. He doesn't always play the two-way game he wanted to, and like I said earlier, his year kind of dropped off this year a lot. He looked good in the World Juniors and is only this low because consistency issues. Like I said, he had a great year as a 16-year-old, but then as a 17-year-old, he came back. He's so far in the SHL put up 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points in 24 games in the Liga. Not the SHL, in the Liga, sorry.
Liga, yeah. He plays the same thing as Juraj or whatever his name is.
Yeah. That's not great. I mean, he's kind of the same thing as you said for Misar. He had a great, unbelievable, like under 2 or the second year out year, and now his draft year he's kind of dropped off. But I think this guy can definitely be the steal of this draft if he's drafted anywhere below number 10. I think we could be talking about this guy being a steal of the draft. And as I was on this topic, I was looking back to last year, and I seen that everybody was saying that R2 Ratty might be the steal of the draft. So I went back, and he's actually point per game now in the Liga. So good for him. I think he got shit on a lot last year when he didn't deserve it. He just had a bad year like Brad Lambert, and I can't see Brad Lambert, and he won't drop out of the first round, obviously, like R2 Ratty did. But it's going to be the same conversation if Brad Lambert, I think, drops anywhere below 10 or 15 spots. I mean, we were talking about this guy going second or third overall just last year.
You're right, man.
Yep. So, who do you got at number 12?
Number 12, I got Sheamus Casey. He's a defenseman. Sorry?
He wasn't even on my notable prospects. I had him on another sheet doing up some workings for him, but he never even made the notable prospects, man.
Sheamus Casey, I got him at number 12. He's a defenseman at the United States National Team Development, whatever the fuck. He has 18 points in 29 games. He's some notes on him is a great intuition as to when to be part or initiate the rush. Work in progress on the defensive side. His golden ticket would be his puck transportation. He's really good at transitioning the play. He might not necessarily get the points for it, and he might not necessarily be the best defensive defenseman, but he's really good at getting the puck up the ice. He doesn't panic, and when he's in his zone, he can get it up pretty well. and he's a pretty tactical player inside the offensive zone. He's good at holding the line, and he's a great skater, one of the best skaters in the draft. And that's what people have been saying. He's obviously not on the same level as Cooley, but it seems like in the United States they're getting some really good skaters there. They're producing guys who can skate well, and he's a really good skater. And I project him to be a top 4 defenseman. I think he's really good. I don't look too much into the point totals because he only has 18 points in 29 games. I think there's a lot of upside that's not tapped into yet, and I think when he goes to college or university, wherever he goes, and I think we're going to see him come out of there with some pretty good point totals and ready to jump into the NHL. So I got him as a medium risk top 4 defenseman at number 12, and I think a team that would benefit from taking him, Columbus Blue Jackets. If they grab Geeky and Casey, it's definitely a risky first round, but I think it might pay off.
I think they definitely need to take a defenseman somewhere in there. So yeah, if they could get, I can't really say I hope they get Sheamus Casey because I got him ranked lower than. I guess he's only ranked lower right now than like three defensemen. Yeah, I don't know. I hope they definitely get a defenseman somewhere in this first round next year.
I like to make a few hot picks, man. Hot takes. I like these.
I know you like to throw it around. You're not afraid. You're not afraid, buddy. I'll give it to you. I'm taking all the safe picks here. But I know you like to be a little dicey over
No.
there,
The top 10, our top 10 was pretty consistent.
Oh yeah, our top 10, yeah, fair.
But
we just out of place a little bit.
We see players jump up here, and I think Casey could be a guy who could jump up because of his puck skills.
Well, I know for sure if our top 10 were similar, our 11 through 15 are going to be nothing similar because you've already gave me some little tidbits on who you picked.
That we don't have Philip Nazar and Sheamus Casey. So
yeah, exactly right now. So at number 10, coming out of the United States.
Number 12.
My bad. Thank you for keeping me on track here.
I'll keep you on a short leash.
For you wobbly pops do that to you. So at number 12, coming out of the United States National Development Program from the USHL, a center right winger, Frank Nazar. Did you see this one coming?
I thought of it. Yeah.
So Frank the Tank is a smooth skating, shifty forward who can play against any team's best players. Has never been less than point per game anywhere that he's played before. So much like the players we're talking before, a lot of offensive ability here. It should tell you something about the lethal offensive threat that this guy is. He doesn't really get his recognition. I think Cooley gets a lot of it, but I think this guy really drives some of the play. He's a great playmaker and a good goal scorer, as I'll attest to later. He needs to gain a bit more muscle to be able to compete against men. So before he can get to the AHL or NHL, he needs to go to a university or stay in the National Development Program and build up some muscle that can help him get into the NHL. He's got all the tools to be a top 6 forward in the NHL. I don't see any excuse for him not making it. If he doesn't make it, it's kind of just as a lack of like hard work or something, because he's definitely got all the talent here. And personally, that might have sounded biased, and that's because personally, this is my favorite player in the draft. I can't wait until this guy gets drafted by Detroit. It's gonna make my fucking evening. It's gonna make my year.
You got him going to by you. Fuck, man, am I dead? But no, you got him going to Detroit.
I think so. He can play center or right wing, which I think. Imagine having Dylan Larkin and then Frank Nazar, 2 United States centers.
Oh man, I can't imagine.
Well, I bet you can. You're just lying. You're telling fibs now, Steve.
I can't imagine. I'd trade Matthews and Tavares any day for Frank Nazar and Dylan Larkin.
All right, not household names yet, buddy, but you wait until they're both playing in the red and white, buddy, and you'll be scared then when they comes into the. What are you playing in the Air Canada Center or the Scotiabank Center, something like that?
Scotiabank Arena. They'll be like, "Oh, boys, we got to be careful. Frank Nazar is coming in tonight."
Exactly.
Like, who the fuck is Frank Nazar?
Like our freaking greasy cheese pizza, Little Caesars, buddy. You stay far away from that place. The rats eat you guys alive there. So anyway, back to Frank Nazar, the fucking beauty of this draft. He's got 13 goals, 20 assists in 33 games, and 9 goals. That's in the U.S. National Development Programs, I guess, tour, just under 20 tour. And in the USHL, he's got 9 goals and 5 assists in 11 games, which tells me this guy's a fucking goal scorer, man. He can dish out the puck, but he loves finding the back of the net as well, which I love to see.
Yeah, it's gonna look good on a line with Tyler Bertuzzi.
Oh yeah, hopefully, man. Imagine. If this guy doesn't go to Detroit, they better get a Swedish player or a Finnish player. That's all I got.
So you're hoping that Detroit drafts Nazar this year?
I hope so, man. I think they'll be picking around 12.
Yeah, probably 10 to 15. It could be lower too if they keep shitting the bed like they did against LA.
Well, I'd honestly be happy. The other 3 players I have on this list are like, I would love to see them also in the red and white. So actually, I'm just noticing this is a really biased list. My last 4 players, I just have a personal connection with. So, that sounded kind of weird. It sounds like I'm going out with them or something now.
You're going to kissing their babies?
Yes, man. But no. Anyway, yeah, you can just get on with your 13. Before I try to make love to Frank right here now on the podcast.
Okay. 13, I have my favorite player in the draft, Denton Mateychuk. I'm not sure how you say his name.
Yeah,
these names are fucked.
Mateychuk, I think.
Mateychuk. He's a defenseman for the Moose Jaw Warriors, WHL. He has 29 points in 34 games. Some quotes on him is he's involved in literally everything Moose Jaw is doing when he's on the ice. He drives the play like a centerman. That's what some scouts are saying. He can play on his offhand side, and that's a special quality for a defenseman. Quite like TJ Brody for the Leafs, he never plays on his right hand.
If you're comparing,
I'm not comparing him.
Denton Mateychuk to TJ Brody right now. There's not
listen,
much
man.
future for this.
Listen, man.
Shit.
He's the most underappreciated defenseman in the league.
Who, TJ Brody? I'll give it to you. When he took a penalty yesterday, he also took off, I think, Nazem Kadri, and the broadcasters were more worried about Toronto being like not having TJ Brody because he's a great penalty killer. And
he's amazing at being a defenseman. Anyways, moving on from the jokes.
I hope so. Jeez, he's getting paid for it.
Yeah, man, he's good, man. He works with Riley. Like, he's doing his job playing in the top 4.
No, I believe you. I liked him on Calgary too. Anyway, back to Mateychuk.
Anyways, one scout says he's the best at playing on his offhand side in North America right now for all prospects. There's not one prospect that's better at playing on his offhand side on defense than this guy.
I don't think there probably isn't many, but that's still high praise.
And he's not a simply a passive player. He likes to be aggressive in the defensive zone, offensive zone, neutral zone. He'll push up in the neutral zone and try to break off passes. And if he makes a mistake, he rushes back extremely quickly to correct it. And I project him as a top 4 defenseman. I think this guy is getting slept on. I think he's one of the best players in the draft. He'll probably move up when we do our next draft ranking later on. And I think he's low risk. I think he's going to be good. And I think a team that benefit from a guy like this would be the Vancouver Canucks. They got an offensive defenseman in Hughes.
Yeah.
They need a guy who can play both ends of the ice well. And I think Denton Mateychuk could fill that role. He's also from the WHL and that area. So
which hand does he shoot? Sorry,
I'm not sure. I think it's left.
Oh fuck!
I think it's left.
I can't see them drafting him then left. I guess it doesn't matter if he's good on his off wing.
He plays on right though.
Yeah. All right.
If he's left, he plays on right. So I'll look now. He's left, so he plays on the right side.
All right. So yeah, maybe they could use him.
I think he'd be a good fit for Vancouver. They need defensemen that aren't fucking, I don't know.
Steve,
get rid of Tyler Myers.
Yeah. Steve, I'm happy you're so high on this guy because not only did I keep him off my top 15, but I kept him off my notable prospects too.
Yeah, well, because I don't care what your list is. I'm joking.
I don't care that you broke your elbow last summer.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a sick video. All right. Well, man, I think he's going to pan out, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. I've
No, I
seen
think
several articles about this guy now.
yeah, I think if Vancouver doesn't draft a winger, I think they should definitely look at a defenseman. I think if they draft another centerman behind Pedersen and Bo Horvat, I think they're looking for a third line centerman. I don't think they're looking for what they should be looking for. So you're probably right.
Yeah, so he's there for me. So far, I'm outside the top 10 so far for me has been completely different for you. I've had
And I
Philip
think
Massar, Sheamus Casey, and Denton Mediachuk.
yeah, and I've had Brad Lambert, Frank Nazar, and now at number 13, ladies and gentlemen, I have Noah Ostlund, a centerman at a dirt garden from the Swedish Elite League or SHL. So let me tell you about Noah Ostlund. He's a strong skating forward who's very powerful on the puck. And that's with him being only 5'9" or 5. No, he's definitely 5'9". So he can play the center or the wing, and he's just as good on either or. So that doesn't really affect where he's playing. He can play in all roles for what I've seen. He's very offensive and loves to get involved in games. So he can get to the scoring areas very easily. And when he's there, he can either shoot or pass, which is very deceptive. He can either send it right back across the seam where it came from or take a quick shot, which I find very useful on power play or just 5-on-5, close to the net situations. Size will definitely be a barrier getting there. Like I mentioned, he's only like 5'9", I think like 170 pounds. As a lot of Swedish players are, their game is a lot less physical than it is in North America. So before he comes over, he will have to tack on a few pounds and just pretty much hit the gym. He's not as well as playing against men, it doesn't seem. He's only had 10 games in the SHL, but he seems to be a lot more comfortable playing with like junior players, like under 20, which is totally fair considering he is only like a 17-year-old. So in the under 20 Swedish league, he had 24 games played, getting 6 goals and 18 assists for 24 points. So he's point per game in the under 20 league. And then he hopped over to the SHL, had 10 games there, and he's went pointless. So he's not as effective right now. And again, that's only 10 games. I mean, that's not even burned off your NHL contract in North America. So there's a lot more to see of this guy, and I can't wait to watch him later on in the season. And hopefully he keeps rising because I like this player too. I wouldn't be upset to see him get put in a Detroit uniform either. So yeah, that's my little bit on Noah Ostlund.
That's a good player. I don't know much about him. I didn't really consider him much, just like you didn't consider Denton Mediachuk. But we'll see how it rolls out.
Okay. Well,
Seems
yeah,
like a
we'll
good
see on
center.
the end of the year.
We'll see. Not a
There's
bad
nothing
pick.
wrong
He'll
with a
definitely
little
be
bit
in my
of
first round.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, people got him pegged. I mean, I've seen him as low as 12, and I've seen him as high as 21st. So I just really like this player right now. It's just the size is keeping him back right now against playing with men, but I'd like to see him tack on a few pounds, come over to North America, and try his hand over here.
Yeah, he's probably one of those guys that's going to take a couple years to develop.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of like a Jonathan Berggren out of Detroit. He was really small when he got drafted, and he's still like 6'1". And he's also got injuries to deal with, so hopefully we see him too. But same thing. Out of the Swedish, I mean, they're not as physical, come over and get banged up. So
yeah, makes sense. Nice pick.
thank you.
All right.
Let's see if we can
14.
get back on the same track, Steve. I don't like it when we're at each other's throats like this, man. Let's try to get the same pick here.
We'll get a pick that I get. Yeah, I'm picking a player that you got in your top 15, Frank Nazar.
Nice. Okay. Decent.
Winger / center. We know that he's over point per game and with the United States, whatever the fuck. Quotes on him is he's a threatening player from the hash marks because of his wrister. And he's really quick at getting the puck off his stick with power, and he's very accurate. He's a ball of energy when he's on the ice, and he uses his speed to drive the net constantly, and he shows no fear in how he plays, despite not being the biggest player on the ice. And he seems like he's just a really talented forward. I project him to be a top 6 forward. I think he's low risk because I think he's got all the tools to succeed. I think he's definitely an NHL player. Even if he's a bust, he's still a third line center or third line winger. I think this guy,
He can still be a Blake Coleman, even if he
yeah,
doesn't reach his
yeah,
potential.
he can find a way to be useful, and he's good at that. He's got a lot of energy, great skater. So I think I project that maybe the Boston Bruins could have a chance to draft him. I know I got him 14th, but
I wouldn't hate to
Boston's
see him
having a
go to
middling
Boston.
year.
Boston needs a
Boston's
center. Yeah.
Yeah, they do need a center, and they're having a middling year, man. They're not great. They're not
They're in a
terrible.
playoff spot. They just passed Detroit,
Yeah,
unfortunately, for the 4th spot in the Atlantic.
yeah, we're gonna see how they do. When we
They'll,
get to
they'll
the
be in the
actual
playoffs for
draft,
sure.
I'm
They'll
thinking
they'll
they're
be in
gonna
the
be on the
playoffs.
edge. I'm thinking they're either gonna be in or they're gonna be out. I think they're wild card, honestly.
Okay.
I don't, but we'll see when it all shapes out. We get the actual draft. We get the actual teams where they're picking who wins the draft lottery. Then these rankings can become a little bit more specific.
Yeah, I can't wait until we see where everybody finishes so we can do,
A specific
a mock
ranking.
draft.
Yeah. And that's 14 for me. I don't have much more to say. You elaborated on him probably too much, honestly, because he's not that good. But
Go on now, buddy.
we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I think he
He's-
has room to move up too. Actually, you know
I
what?
do. I do. I think he can
He's.
move up.
I don't know, man. I don't know if he can sneak into the top 10. I don't think I'd move out. If I was to move out anybody from my top 10, it'd be Miro Shinchenko or Yurov, just because those are not producing at the level they should be
I feel
right
like
now. Where
Geeky is
Frank
gonna
is
move back for
exceeding.
me.
Do you think he slips from the top 10?
I don't know if he's in my top 10 or not when the year's over. I think he's starting to slip now, actually, just because I'm starting to realize how much his points might not be reflecting him so much as the all-star team he's on. I don't know. I just got questions about him. So I feel like
Yeah.
he can move.
I mean, I thought a lot more people had him in the top 5 to begin the year than have him in the top 5 now. I haven't seen him in the top 5.
I feel like my top 5 is pretty well set in stone for me personally.
And we got the same top 5, so I'm going to agree with you there. Or you got Yuri.
I got Yurisek instead of Nemec, so that's pretty much pick and choose there.
Exactly, yeah.
So our top 5 is pretty much spot on into what it could be.
Fair enough. Another player that I have out of the United States National Development Program, this time a left winger, is Isaac Howard. Have you heard much about this guy?
I don't know. I don't know much about this guy, so elaborate.
So where everybody else in the United States National Development Program is dishing the puck off, this guy's the one putting the biscuit in the net, at least the most frequently. He's a great scoring winger with very good skating ability. Like you said, not very many players coming out of this U.S. Development program are bad skaters. I mean, everybody can pretty much keep up, and everybody's got that kind of like cool foot to them, kind of the, for a good first 3 steps, good acceleration, and good transitioning and pivoting.
Yeah, you often find the Europeans or the slower skaters in the draft.
Yeah, which surprises me because I find that a lot of Europeans are
quick and
faster.
skilled.
Are small and
surprising. The States got a lot of speed on the go lately.
They do. I think that's what they're focusing on after seeing like players like McDavid come out and take over the league. I mean,
yeah,
they must just be working a lot on foot speed because these players are amazing. Isaac Howard is a great finisher on plays in tight to the net. He's got a good shot. I wouldn't say he's got an elite shot, but it's definitely it definitely gets the job done. With a lot of these players from I don't know this range in the draft, I'm going to say this, but it's true. Size kind of holds him back. He's not strong enough, and he easily gets knocked off the puck by bigger opponents. I wish he put on a bit more muscle to kind of like hold his own ground. Nonetheless, a great offensive talent, and will most likely project to be a middle 6, if not a top forward. So in the USDP, he's got 14 goals, 22 assists in 31 games. So I think he's the goals leader on this team. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but this guy gets it done. He's definitely one of the best goal scorers on that team. He's top 3, maybe after Frank, Nazar, and Cooley. He's one to look out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's gonna be on my list. I seen him there. I didn't look too much into him. I looked at his stats, and I just seen a few players that I feel like I prefer to pick higher than him, but he's still going to be. He could move up my list. I can consider him in top 15. Tommy
Yeah.
Dudeson.
One list I seen had him at 7.
Wow.
So, yeah. Actually, I should give a shout out. I got a lot of information from this person on YouTube called Templin Scouting, Templin. I think I spelled that right. Scouting. Is a great hockey mind. He puts into simple terms what like I'm thinking, so it's easy for me to understand. So he's really high on Isaac Howard. So yeah, I definitely check him out if you haven't already.
Yeah, I'm also going to say credits to SMA HT Scouting and MyNHLDraft.com. They gave me a few things to dive into it a little bit more. Obviously, Elite Prospects was always there for me when I need research. But
Yeah, elite prospects in hockey DB are huge when it comes to this stuff.
yeah,
Researching players and that.
Yeah, I was on a few little different websites. I tried to watch some video on YouTube. I found I watched more video on the top 10 prospects. I slipped off a bit when I got to the 15, but
So
I'm gonna work on
I
it.
did the
I'm gonna
exact
work on
same
it.
thing.
Gonna work on it, Tommy. When we do a final draft, I want to have a good piece about every player, and I want to make sure that it's consistent and it's not a bias.
Yeah, the only down thing is I wish that World Junior Championship went ahead because we would have a lot more information from a lot more scouts and a lot of people would have been talking about the players that played in that. I think the biggest riser coming out of that, I think Brad Lambert would have got into the top 10. I honestly
Yeah,
do if that tournament finished. Finland looked good.
I haven't mentioned him yet.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh,
Hit me up
sorry.
with your
Actually no, never mind. Keep going.
no, you got your number 15.
I
Go.
got number 15, Brad Lambert.
I hadn't mentioned him yet. Oh, was my turn? Oh, Brad Lambert.
Yeah, out of Liga, 6 points, 24 games is what I got here. Some
Yeah.
quotes as he maintains good presence all over the offensive zone. He tries to open up a lot of passing lanes for forwards. And defensively, he likes to play man on man. And sometimes when he plays the wing, he forgets his role. He kind of pushes back like he's playing a center. He's pretty aggressive player, and sometimes he can be a little bit too aggressive. That's a knock on him. If you can be too aggressive, he does it.
Yeah.
And when playing loose pucks, he has a tendency to overskate the puck. But he's pretty much good at driving the net, coming in on the wing and finding an open man. He's really good at finding the open man. And he's good at battling for pucks, active stick. Sometimes he's questioned does he hold on to the puck too long because he puts himself in a bad area sometimes with and defensively he doesn't push back as much as he should sometimes, and he forgets his role sometimes if he's on the wing or if he's in center. That's what a lot of people have said, but I don't know. I haven't watched enough game of his. I felt like he deserved to be in the top 15, and I know he's a big name. I would not put it past if I have him top 10 when the year's over. So he's definitely one of the players that's moving up, and that's going to move up because they're so good. I project him to be a top 6 forward. Like everybody here, I got a top 6 or top 4 because I think the top 15 in this draft can work out well.
I think there's an insane amount of skill in this top 15. I mean,
yeah, I don't see elite skill. There's no elite skill, but there's
yeah,
talent.
exactly. There's no elite franchise players except for maybe Shane Wright. He's maybe the only one that can.
Shane Wright's the only person I would consider elite here.
Yeah, but I would say there's a lot of overall skill. A lot of these players were probably passed on last year when they weren't playing, and now we're seeing them play so well. I don't know. These are a handful of good players here.
I think next year's draft's going to be a lot better, though.
I mean, I just can't wait to see fucking Michkov and Bedard go at it for number 1.
Yeah. Anyways, I project him as a top 6 forward with medium risk. I think Detroit Red Wings would be a good fit for him.
Thank you. I love you for saying that because I agree with you.
I think he'd fit in well there. I think they need just more skill, man. I think
if Detroit had anyone on my list, I'd be happy. I mean, except for Morgan. Geez, I keep calling him Morgan, but I'm gonna get shot. Connor Geeky. We already have a Connor Geeky in Rasmussen, as he said.
Yeah, so I think Detroit should take all the skill they can get before it's harder to grab later when they start moving up.
Definitely.
So
I'll agree with you there.
Who's yours?
So at number 15, I have Jonathan Lekkerimäki out of Sweden. Have you heard of this guy before?
Dude, I don't know if I have.
Lekkerimäki? No, I've seen him on a lot of top 15 prospect rankings.
I think I had a list here that was bigger. Let me see. No, you continue, sorry.
All right, so he's a center out of Djurgården SHL. He plays on the same line as Noah Ostlund, and they've had very similar careers. They had the same amount of games this season in the U20, and they were brought up at the exact same time to the big boy club at the SHL. So Lekkerimäki, I might be pronouncing that wrong, but that's how it looks in English. So my apologies to the European listeners. Jonathan's a great center prospect from Sweden who has been on fire this season. He needs to grow into his body. He's got a good frame, but he just needs to, fill it out. He's also got to work on his overall game because he's a great offensive player, and that reflects in his stats. And he's a great goal scorer, to point out just that one ability. But he's really got to work on his two-way game because I guess it's just that young, immature game of gung-ho, let's see how many goals we can get. That's great until you've let in 3 and you're a -2 and your coach hates you and benches you. So right now, so at the beginning of the season, him and Ostlund both played 24 games in the under 20 Swedish league, where Jonathan Lekkerimäki had 18 goals, 15 assists in 24 games. So great stats. I mean, that's almost a double point per game. Wow. Or geez, that's almost double point per game. Sorry. And then he got brought up for 10 SHL games as of late, and he's got 2 goals and 1 assist. So I was debating on switching Lekkerimäki and Ostlund from 13 and 15. But I settled Noah Ostlund's the better overall player, where Lekkerimäki just has a lot of raw offensive skill that somebody's going to need to shave down and kind of set in places. Like there's time and a place to be this offensive player, but then you've also got to pick your battles and be the defensive player that's going to get you to the NHL. So that's why I decided him at 15, but I didn't feel it was right to leave him out where he's been such a great force on both leagues this year.
That's a good pick, man. I don't know too much about this guy, and I feel like it's a crime. I did have him on my list. I checked, but he wasn't somebody I considered for my top 15. Now, like I said, I got to do a lot more research. I'm just getting into it about this year's draft. So over the coming months, I'll figure out who I want, who I like, and I'll watch some more video and do some research.
Good stuff. If that's all, do you have any closing remarks, Steve?
Subscribe to the YouTube, follow the Instagram, Hockey Tank Podcast. I believe it's just Hockey Tank on Instagram. Episode 11 was out today while we're recording this on Sunday, January 9th, is it?
Yep,
January 9th. So just tune in and follow us on all platforms. Hopefully we can start advertising a little bit better in the future. But we'll see. Thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you. Very well said. Once again, Ryan Green from Paradise, Newfoundland, playing in the USHL. He's going in this year's draft. I'd love to see him go at least in the second round. That would be awesome. And I'd love to see him especially go in the first.
I feel like he's going to be number 32 for you.
Oh man, if he could sneak in, like who was that fellow that went last year? Oh, fuck. From Mount Pearl.
Oh, is Vegas pick?
Yeah. Who was that?
Zach Dean.
Zach Dean. If he can sneak in like Zach Dean did, that would be amazing. So Ryan, if you're listening, buddy, you got to turn it on in the USHL. We're cheering for you from back home.
Man. Yeah.
We're cheering for you, buddy. All right. Without further ado, thank you for tuning in to the 12th episode of the Hockey Tank Podcast. I hope you enjoyed every minute of it. Some of it was foolishness and some of it was good hockey content. We hope to see you back next week. See you later.